Up One Nerdigans, this is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and today's book Nerdigan discussion is Angelfall by Susan E., which is the first book in the Pemron and End of Days series. If you have not read this book, then seriously, why the commie and Arceus are you here? Go read it, and then come back here so we can talk about it, because I'm doing something a little bit different than a lot of the booktubers are doing, because a lot of booktubers have covered this book, and have covered the series, I should say, except for I haven't seen any videos on the End of Days yet, which I can't wait to do, because the End of Days was awesome. And so I'm mainly going to focus on the mythology and some of the things I'm going to touch upon on here as well. I'm going to mention in my book Nerdigan rant on, what is the book I'm thinking of? A Battle Angel by Scott Spear, because that's why I'm doing this hashtag AngelReadAthon in the first place, besides the fact that I love Angel books. So, here we go. And as always, Minnie Popo is showing the beautiful cover of Angelfall. And it says, if you can't read it, it says they have arrived. So, one thing I really love about the series, and I'm going to put my hair up, I'm sorry, I just really realized I can't stand my hair right now, is that it takes place in Silicon Valley, which I've been to, and in particular, this takes place in Palo Alto, and it ends up going to San Francisco, which is great because I'm from the Bay Area, so mostly the East Bay, but my dad lives off of the peninsula where Palo Alto is. And there's some things that I think it's in World After that they mention about one of the locations that's really true right now. So I really appreciate that. And I like how Susan E. started off this book where, you know, she's talking about the El Camino Real, which I've been on that street before, which is also, it's translated into the Royal Path. And I love how she wrote, it's totally appropriate that the founders of Yahoo, Facebook, Apple, and Google got stuck on this road like everyone else. And I was like, oh my God, that's so true. And then you know when it's, because this book takes place 6 weeks after the apocalypse began. You know when it's 6 weeks after the apocalypse starts, when the eco-conscious techies toss the latest smartphones, gadgets out in the streets, and they're gridlocked of empty cars and smart cars too. That is, if you go to Silicon Valley, that is complete blasphemy and sacrilegious, and you will get glared at like no other because it's full of political correctness pandas there. It's what commie Arceus. They only attack major cities, and San Francisco gets fucking wrecked. Hashtag get wrecked, San Francisco. San Francisco got wrecked. And something that this book does is it actually, in the book that I'm thinking of, it explains it too. But anyway, so the start of the apocalypse begins when the gold-winged messenger of God, Gabriel, is shot and killed in Jerusalem. And by the way, when we get to the Angel Fire series by Courtney Moulton, we're gonna get Gabriel. Yeah, it's gonna be all from Gabriel's point of view, but Gabriel in human form, which is pretty sweet. And since then, the angels of the apocalypse have been killing millions of people, and it's insane. So we're in the middle of the street, and I think this is when we're at Page Road, or something like that. Sorry, it's been a while since I read this book. You gotta excuse me. You have the 6 angels appear with different colored wings. You know, you have Rafi, which is with the snowy white wings. You have Belial, who, when we get to what series am I thinking of? When we get to the Sweet Evil series by Wendy Higgins, we will see Belial in a different light. And he has the giant color of night wings, and then we have blue, green, burnt orange, and tiger stripes. So it kind of makes you wonder if, because Belial is a fallen or a demon, you take your pick, it kind of makes you wonder if only the fallen angels have the different colored wings, because Rafi is an archangel. Yes, I spoiled it. Rafi is an archangel, motherfuckers. And I gotta say, one theme of this readathon, sexy angels or sexy Nephilim without their shirts, sorry, they are delicious. And Belial, quote unquote, executes Rafi by chopping off his wings. And that's the theme in this series, is Rafi grandpa, which I think is hilarious. And it's sad because Rafi is amazing. And there's a black market for angel parts, and wings will get you the most money, and there's gangs taking over this area. So you have a couple of scenarios going on. You have the gangs, you have the cults, and then when I'll explain in a minute, we get the resistance as well, which is the I think it's funny that you have the like I kind of can see this happening during an apocalypse where you have gangs and cults just rising up like no other. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then after I love it. After Penryn throws her sword, or not her sword, throws Rafi's sword back to him. She tries to get everyone out of there, but it doesn't really work. And of course, you know, if you've read the book, you know that Burns kidnaps Paige, where Paige is going to be experimented on, and with like a lot of other humans. And we find out in, I think it's the end of days, why it happens. Or no, we find a little bit of it in the world after, and we find even more about it in the end of days. So, yeah, and angels and their swords are surprisingly light, which I think is unusual. Or actually, it doesn't surprise me, because angels in some series, when I get to the Angel series by L.A. Weatherly, it literally says that they are just beings of light and beings of energy. So it does explain why he's light. The swords and angel swords are usually made from an angel's wing. So if it's made from a feather of a wing, then yeah, you kind of understand why they're light as hell. So, and then you have I should mention, because I know the other booktubers probably have totally mentioned her. I gotta say, especially for the end of day, when we get to the end of days, fucking man, Penryn and Paige's mom, dude, she like pulled some ice and shit. It was so awesome. Like, she has schizophrenia, but she is badass. I love her mom. She's like, especially even the rotten. I'll get to the end of days. The rotten eggs are actually important for a reason. But yeah, but as I mentioned, Burn captures Paige, and after Paige passed Rafi's swords and defeated his executioners, and yeah, get fucking A, man. Belial got wrecked. And the stories say if you cut an angel's wings off, they will die. But that case is that's really not true. And especially, well, with Raphael's case, it's not true. And it's very consistent in a lot of Angel series, which you will see later on in this hashtag AngelReadAthon. So that when they go, I love it when they go find the building, and of course the best building to pick is an office building with a dead body in the lobby, because no one's gonna really pay attention. And I love that her mom ends up putting lipstick on the dead body. It's funny as hell. And seriously, office buildings have food. You just have to know where to go. You have to go to the break room. And I love, and this one has a shower, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley ones have office buildings, have gyms, have showers, and all that shit. So that doesn't surprise me that much. And yeah, you have to beware of demons in your head asking for favors. That's really good advice. I love her mom's response when Penryn tells her, while she's fighting Rafi, that she's talking to her personal demon, and her mom's like, "Okay, don't underestimate them and don't make them promises you can't keep," which is pretty funny. I was just like, wow, yeah, you don't want to fuck with demons. Angels heal through. We find out that angels heal through deep sleep, and that's how Rafi's heals wounds, with the exception of his back wounds, which he later mentions that angel swords leave scars on angels, and it makes sense, and it's consistent with well, I'm trying to think of the other series that I just read. Oh, the Angel Fire series is a little bit different with the angel and demon swords, but and I was curious about this too, and I wanted Susan, if you're watching this, I would love to know if Belial could use, if demons in this realm could use demon swords or not. But because I know that angel swords reject them once they fall. But I'm just curious about demon swords because in another series, which we'll get to later on, uses demon swords. So yeah, and demon fire and all that shit. And I'm just curious. Um, Yeah, Perrin, she saved Rafi's ass twice already. Once from the Fallen, or twice from the gangs actually, because the gangs were gonna remember the gangs were gonna chop him up, and the sword is hers, and yeah, the sword is a she, and no pen is no squire. That was so funny, like, cause guys do that all the time. They name their objects, but it kind of reminds me of the Fae, where the true name has power. And I love it when they go to the hills in the fancy guest house, and Rafi has has blisters all over his feet, and Penryn he's trying to figure out how to put the pads on his feet, and Penryn is helping him, and Rafi says that's before she does. Rafi says, that's a pretty intimate demand in the angel world. It usually takes dinner, some wine, and sparkly conversation for me to give up my feet. And I love it, because angels, you will see later in and you saw it in the Violet Eden Chronicles, that angels are really cold and heartless. And emotionless, I should say. They're really cold and emotionless. And they really can't think for themselves. And you'll see that again and again and again in a lot of angel series. And I love how, I love it. I love when he gives Penryn his name, and Penryn's like, Rafi, I like the sound of that. Rafi just sounds like Rafi. Coincidence? I'm like, I think not at this point. And Rafi says here, you must have heard the old adage, there's power in knowing someone's true name. It can be especially between species. And then Penryn's like, so what do they call you if they don't know your true name? And Rafi says the wrath of God. And Raphael, that's what Raphael the Archangel really is. So this is on Raphael on why us humans would think angels are so kind. He doesn't understand why we would think that. He says, angels are violent creatures. Why would you think that? Even in your Bible, we're harbingers of doom, willing and able to destroy entire cities. Just because we sometimes warned one or two of you beforehand doesn't make us altruistic, which is really, yeah, you'll notice that too. And this is what Rafi says on the angel swords. So angel sword wounds, and the angel sword in general. Angel sword wounds take a long time to heal, as I mentioned. If you're ever going to kill an angel, slice them up with an angel sword. My sword would never hurt me, and my sword is the only one you can wield. You need permission to use an angel sword. It'll weigh a ton if you try to lift it without permission. You don't get permission from the angel, you get it from the sword. And some swords get grouchy for asking. So yes, angel swords have emotions, even though angel swords come from the feather of an angel wing. Yeah, that logic is crazy. I love Rafi so much. Like part of me, I have a love-hate thing with Rafi. And I love that he's funny, but I don't know if he would be in my top 10 for book nerdigan boyfriends, like the next few heroes are. You'll understand why if you read the books. I love what he says. Of course you're not moping. A girl like you spending time with a warrior demigod like me. What's to mope about? Leaving a wheelchair behind couldn't possibly show up on the radar compared to that. I never kid about my warrior demigod status. And then he's like, evolution. I'll have you know that I have been perfect. This evolution, I'll have you know that I've been perfect since the beginning of time. And I'm like, Rafi, you could cheer me up any day. That is just funny as hell. I was laughing. It reminded me of Percy in the Percy Jackson series, and Leo from Heroes of Olympus by Rick Riordan. And I love it. Rafi's intro to the soldiers, to the resistance soldiers. He says, "My friends call me Wrath. My enemies call me Please Have Mercy." I love it. And what's your name, soldier boy? And I was thinking, suck it, da-da, soldier boy. Grab the carpet. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I swear to call me an Arceus. I need to get a soundboard. Maybe I should put that on my Patreon too. So the resistance leader's name is Obadiah, and here we go. How biblical. Obadiah hid the prophets from the persecution. And when you're storming through, okay, and then we're going to get to, oh, no, this is when he's talking to, oh, this is when Penryn goes in to rescue them. And, or no, this is after Penryn went in to rescue them, try and rescue Rafi, because this was after the whole dogs chasing them and down and all that shit. And Rafi's all tied up in a rope, and Penryn ends up getting tied up too. And Rafi was gonna actually escape. He could escape because Rafi says when you're storming through Erie, which is in San Francisco, remember that ropes won't hold angels. And Bowden is like. Bowden's laughing. Bowden's an asshole. I'm gonna punch him in the fucking face. But this line was hella funny. They can't be that good. They stumbled in a big semicircle around the compound like a couple of dildos. How skilled can they be? What dildos have to do with it? I have no idea. But he did have a point in that we did get caught by an idiot. I was laughing. I was like, yeah, that's true. Oh, and then we get to D-Dum, the twins that changed their name to Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and right now they're the Ginger Twins, and I love them. They are so funny. They have some of the most epic lines in the series, and when I get to them, I will get to them. Or I'm actually going to get to it now. And Penryn mentioned she's named after an exit off the Interstate 80, which I think is kind of funny. So the proposition is to throw a fight against Anita. This was after she beat the shit out of Bowden, which was pretty awesome. And it was fucked up that Rafi wasn't, pulling for her. But hell, Rafi got hella money from that shit. Because everyone was betting against her. And Penryn is really short, too. She kicked that guy's ass, and he had it coming to him. Bowden was a prick. You have no idea how much I'd risk for an honest-to-good mud fight between two two hot women. And I'm thinking, yeah, the dehydration is real in the apocalypse. So, as I mentioned, the area is in San Francisco, and after they were attacked by some lower demons, which we find out who they are in through Rafi's sword later on. I think this was in the End of Days, but I can't remember right now. I love what he says. He's like, before I can wrap, this is what Penryn says. Before I can wrap my mind around just what happened, Rafi did something strange. Instead of declaring victory and walking away safe like any sane survivor, he chases after them into the dark woods. And while they're fighting the demons, Penryn is throwing rocks. And Rafi is like, oh, poor Rafi. And he said, after the demon's like, the next time you have a quarrel with me, I'd appreciate it if you could just talk to me before resorting to pelting me with rocks. So here we go. So we're getting a little religious history that is really close to Rafi. Anyway, we don't know that yet, but we will later. A group of angels called Watchers were stationed on Earth to observe the humans. Over time, they got lonely and took human wives knowing they shouldn't. Their children were called Nephilim, and they were abominations, which is a common theme. They usually are abominations. They fed on humans, drank their blood, and terrorized the earth. For that, the Watchers were condemned to the pit until Judgment Day. You think that's bad? You should have seen the punishment for their wives, which we do, and it's bad. Of course, San Francisco, of all places, sells working cards, but that's actually the resistance just going through. And so out of all the places in San Francisco that didn't get wrecked, it was the financial district. I'm not surprised, because money wins. Money wins. And there's lots of homeless people, obviously homeless survivors around, but there's nothing new in San Francisco. There's homeless people everywhere all the time. So the angels have turned people into monkeys, not literally just the behavior. And yet the angels, I swear to call me an artiste, in this series the angels are the freezer rays. They are the fucking freezer rays. And this is what I mean by San Francisco getting wrecked. So they got wrecked by meteor showers, tsunamis, earthquakes, and gas pipes bursting. And all that's left are skeletons of skyscrapers, an occasional big church standing, and lots of pillars holding up nothing. And this is when they were driving in. And what was the other one? I love it. So they're before they go into the area, because the angels are being pervs and want sexy looking women. I don't know if I can get into the area, but Rafi got like a micro mini dress and heels and I think tights for Penryn to put on, and Rafi's like staring at her because he's never seen her in a dress, and I'm thinking to myself, where is it? I'm like, yeah, just keep staring, Rafi. Just protect Penryn from the pervy homeless men, and yeah, every woman knows how to change in public. Every woman should know how to change in public. I know how to change in public because I've had to do it on the marching band bus. And yeah, I know you guys are going to say that one time at band camp crap, but yeah, I've had to change on the marching band bus in front of guys before, and other girls, obviously other girls, but mostly in front of other guys. So it wasn't. I know how to change. I know how to change in public. I'm not stupid. And apparently angels have high standards in their women, and a lot of things. I'm kind of happy. Well, I'm really happy that Rafi thinks Pen is beautiful, and I'm curious. Seriously, I'm curious if I would get in. I don't know if I would get in. I don't look that great right now, but if I got all dressed up and looked like a hooker, I probably would. And but seriously, the men are fucking pigs. They are so pervy and gross, and that's nothing new in San Francisco. They are pervy and gross. I'm sorry, San Francisco men. You gotta do something about that. And apparently anything up to producing Nephilim is a gray zone. It could get them all burned in the pit. And yeah, wind tunnels got nothing on San Francisco. It's always windy and cold. And something that I found interesting is that the angels are like living in the 20s. Which I like the 20s. So the angels are gangsters, and they're totally gangsters, smoking their cigars and wearing the zoot suits. And apparently, well, obviously, you're going to need an angel to get into the nightclub. And I liked how Rafi was able to hide his wings under his suit jacket and shit. It was really cool. Oh my god, the first kiss with Rafi and Penryn. Oh my god, me and Arceus. And I forgot to mention, I love the cuddle scene in the house. I was like, oh, that was so sweet, Rafi. I want to cuddle with Rafi. He's so sweet. And I loved how Pamela describes it. She says, what I just experienced with Rafi was another animal. This was knee-melting, gut-twisting, vein-tickling, nuclear meltdown compared to the other kisses I've had. And I'm like thinking, okay, I will take some of that kiss. And I wanted to smack Rafi when he said, you should know I don't even like you. I'm like, yes! Sucker, I want to punch him in the face. That pissed me off so much. And a life lesson that you guys should know. When a man in purple and screaming pink stares at you, you know it's time to change your appearance. Yeah. And yes, these, like, I don't know how they do it, but these are just like the best freaking spies ever. Like, they're a master of disguise. They could get in anywhere. And they're at the area, they're at the hotel they're at, and all that shit. And then we see the full-on albino angel Josiah, and his eyes are red. He's full-on albino. His eyes are red with pink ring irises the shapes of lightning bolts. I like Josiah. Josiah's cool. And apparently angels have slaves, which I think is kind of interesting. It kind of reminds me of what, what's his name? That mentioned it. I think it was Knox. Yeah, it was Knox mentioned, oh, God, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about, the exile that screwed over Lincoln's family that was working with, Nollis, there we go. It reminds me of Nollis. That's how the ranking system works. It kind of reminds me of that. So I'm wondering if that's just how, if it works like that, if angels just have slaves in general, or what is going on with that. I thought that was pretty interesting, actually. So, Rafi says to him, we haven't been strangers since I pulled you out of the slave quarters to train you as a soldier. And who's the messenger now, since Gabriel said? There's, nobody. There's a standoff, and this is from Josiah. We'd all agree on Michael, but he doesn't want it. He likes being the general and won't give up the military. And Uriel, on the other hand, wants it so bad he's practically combing our feathers with his own hands to get the supermajority support he needs. In the meantime, none of us knows what in God's name is going on or why the hell we're here. As usual, Gabriel told us nothing. You know how he liked being dramatic. Everything was need to know only. And even then, you were lucky to get anything out of him that wasn't all cryptic. And why Yuri hasn't gotten the support, and Rafi has support too. there are those who don't like the idea of Uriel becoming the messenger because he has too close of a tie to hell. He keeps telling them that visiting the pit, and that was my computer, I'm sorry, is part of his job, but who knows what goes down on there. And Rafi's men are stubborn as shit, and yes, they are very stubborn. And yes, Rafi should be in the running like the other archangels. And this is what the men are saying about Rafi, that no angel could withstand being alone for this long, that if you haven't come back to us by now, it could only mean you're dead or that you've joined the other side, you know, the fallen. And Josiah also said there are rumors that you committed the same sins as the Watchers, that you haven't come back because you're not allowed back, that you cleverly escaped humiliation and eternal torture by concocting a story about sparing your Watchers the pain of hunting their own children, that all the Nephilim running around the earth is proof that you never tried. And Rafi and Pen are calling what the angels believe are Nephilim lower demons. That's what it seems like to me. And we'll get there in a second. Well, I'll get to it why. Second why. And the humans are calling angels masters. And I'm thinking to myself, the exiles from the Embrace series would be so happy here. That's what they wanted. And so they're in, this is when they're in the hotel, and they're in the room. And seriously, San Francisco, I told you, it got wrecked. So Haight-Ashbury, The Mission, North Beach, South Market, Golden Gate Park, they're all gone. Motherfucking angels, why do you have to destroy my hometown? Why? Why? But anyway, so this is what Rafi says about Gabriel. God commands Gabriel, he's the messenger. Then Gabriel tells the rest of us what God wants. That's the theory anyway. The messenger's word is accepted as the word of God. We act on it. Whether each of us believes it or not, whether even the messenger believes it or not is another story. And Rafi is an agnostic angel, which is unheard of, really. Oh, somewhat unheard of. Well, Gregory can be agnostic, but angels, like, it's really unheard of for there to be an agnostic angel. And the friggin' Dita, man, they got Paige, they got Penryn to Paige. That was bomb. And like throughout this whole thing, her Pen and Paige's mom she's using her cattle prod, and she doesn't trust them. She doesn't trust anybody. She got cattle prod happy in front of the fence too. So now let me get to the Scorpion Angels. I swear to Kami and Arceus, they are a more improved imperfect cell because they suck biomass via the tail or the mouth, where a cell just was from the tail, you know, using it from the tail. And I knew Dr. Giraud was behind all this. Yes, we have a DBZ Nerdigan moment right here. It was confirmed. These angels are freaking sadistic, and they were stitching kids up back, even Paige, like, sure, her mouth was all stitched up, like in painful stitches. Her body had stitches everywhere. And, what was the other thing? And some of the kids there had no eyes in their eyeball sockets. Like, yeah, this book is dark. And, yeah, the angels are the Frieza race. Hashtag monkeys confirmed. And she is, I swear, she is like a demon. Because we have a vampire android. And they weren't meant to eat angel flesh. They are disgusted. And while this is happening, when Dijon went to go take Penryn to go see Paige, and yes, Penryn got amazing food, room service, Rafi was getting his wings attached by Layla, who's a fucking backstabbing bitch, and angel swords kick ass. First the angel, and then the Scorpion Angels while the Resistance attacked. I mean the Fire Nation. And surgery was successful in the wrong way, and Belial, swear to Kami, he's a mid-demon POS, and he took Rafi's wings from him, and now he has his badass black wings with that have sights on them, which is pretty cool. And it's sad because Rafi's sword rejects him. It's sad. And the sword is what's badass about Rafi's sword is that it's wielding Pen. Yeah, it's wielding Penryn. It's pretty sweet. And Penryn gets, like, after she thought they aborted all of the fetuses, or all of the Scorpion Angels, I should say. Yeah, Penryn got stabbed by an underdeveloped Scorpion Angel, and now we know what, and the way Susan wrote it, like, it sounded painful, and I was saying to myself, now we know how people getting absorbed by cells feel like. Yeah, and I'm going to say this, Krillin aborted cell, no, Pen aborted most of the cells, Rafi aborted the last one, and Uriel is behind all this shit. It's stupid angel politics. It's stupid fucking angel politics. And Rafi believes Penryn is dead, but she's not, and because she's paralyzed. And he looked like a badass demon lord carrying her to her family and left right as the area implodes and is destroyed. And Rafi is alive, and he's flying, and he's able to dodge, and yeah, that's how it ends right here. It's pretty cool. So I did like this book a lot, and it was really a fun adventure, and I love Rafi, and I love Didum. It gets better next book. It gets better next book. So I want to know what you guys thought about this book. Did you like how it was post-apocalyptic? Did you like that how the angel politics are taking place in here? What was the other thing I wanted to ask you guys? What do you think? Do you guys see the references that I'm making here? But what do you think about the writing? I like the writing a lot. I especially love Rafi being a smartass. Rafi being a smartass is fun, is great. I love Didum. I love Didum, Penryn, and her mom is fucking awesome. Her mom is badass, by the way. But anyway, I will see you guys in World After, which will be the next Book Nerdigan discussion video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe my videos. And please go to my Patreon and donate. And if you can, please donate, because the struggle is really real right now. And any little contribution helps produce more videos for Nerdigans Inc., which is run by me. And remember to always follow me on Twitter. And until next time, Nerdigans, I will be seeing you later.